I guess with the routine, that's one thing. But let's say someone watching here, because you guys are young, coming up, they want to make money as well. Obviously, learn from mentor. Other than obviously getting into the business world, what can they do to kind of like, accelerate this growth in business? You would say.
First thing is, I don't see a lot of people reading a lot of books, right?
Mm-hmm.
They do not. That's the information right there, man. You know, there's so many good books out there, like Patrick B. Davis, Your Next 5 Moves. You know, if you don't know what you're going to do for the next 5 years, what I like to say is like a man is the most dangerous man is the one who's disciplined, determined, and knows exactly where he wants to go. Right. So that's why I ask everybody is what's your 5-year plan? If you don't know your 5-year plan, then how are you supposed to know what direction you want to go? So anybody that wants to partner with me or work with me, I always ask the question, we create a 5-year plan, then we go from there. Right. So for us, it's like if you're becoming a lawyer or something, or a doctor or something like that, and you can't even work and you want to work with us, what's the point? You're going to waste our time. Does that make sense? It doesn't integrate with us. And then from there, so definitely focus on the 5-year plan. Start reading the books according to what you want to do. And just start reading more podcasts, listen to podcasts and everything. Cut the bullshit of having bad friends. You know, that's another thing. A lot of people have shittier friends. Yeah. You know, so that's the hardest thing to do. I mean, I let go of majority of my family, even my parents too, for almost like 2 years to stop talking to them because they were bringing so much negativity on the table every single time I would try to do something. Right. But I had to do that to get to the next level. You know, and then from there it's just learning and just having a mentor and just following them what they do. You know, model and mimic is one of the most successful things on planet Earth.
Good point. All right, listen to chats real quick. Take a little break here. Yeah, PPD's a person, guys. Patrick Bet David.
Yeah, of course. You don't know who he is?
They say,
I know who he is.
But that is some good advice, though, bro. All right. There we go.
What happened? Oh, we got a black screen? Oh, okay.
We got Livia Adams says, you're fresh. I was listening to your stream the other day, and when that woman started attacking, I thought you were getting violated. Oh. Come on, nigga. Ow. Turns out she was attacking Mr. Orgasm. Organism? Bro, you were like, wait, stop. What are you doing? Just sounded like it was straight out of a hentai.
He was listening to an audio. He wasn't watching.
He didn't watch it.
He thought she was attacking. Okay.
No. She threw some stuff at Organic. He dodged it, of course. Black Neo. And then we're viral. 30 million views. Let's fucking go. All right. Who's next? Okay. Cool. All right. So let's say someone's watching here and they want to work with you personally. E-commerce, other businesses. How good would they get started?
How would they get started? Miguel, you chime in. How about that?
Yeah. So one of the first things is just like with the whole business relationship side of things, right? So we're a very tight circle in regards to how we operate. We have certain standards that we follow. And just in regards to the growth, we want to make sure that it's solid people that are joining the team. One of the worst things that you can have is turnover, right? And one of our ultimate goals is always having someone, to be essentially a lifetime member of whatever it is, right? Whether it's a company, whether it's, it's a group, whether it's, whatever you want to call it. So one of the biggest things that we do is a vetting process. So again, whether that's reaching out to someone like myself or someone else on the team that's also like an executive, whatever that may look like, something as easy as sending a DM. Right. Hey, I see what you guys are doing. I'm located in Northern California. I'm in Arizona. Hey, I'm in the Arizona, area. Can we sit down? Can we have dinner? Can we have a Zoom call? Like showing effort, showing initiative. Right. Like I can tell you right now, the majority of our deals that we've ever closed, I would say probably 70-80% of them have always been in person. Why? Because it shows effort. Like I would rather come and meet someone in person, shake their hand and say, hey, this is what I can bring to the table. How can we collaborate? So one of the biggest things is obviously making that outreach, but also showing initiative. Because if you just send a DM or don't follow up.
Lazy.
Yeah. We have one kid. I kid you not. He just turned 18 in February. His name's Eric. Shout out to Eric. He came up to us at a gas station. Literally in a gas station. He was wearing sweats and a baggy-ass shirt. And he says, hey, he was like, what do you guys do? Because we pulled up and all of our cars, his Rolls Royce, Ferraris, Porsches, all this different stuff, right? And there's this kid here. Yeah. And he's like, what the fuck do you guys do?
Of course.
And again, he was like, I apologize. He was like, I'm in sweats. He was like, I'm in a baggy shirt. He was like, but I couldn't let this opportunity pass. So I grabbed his number and I'm like, okay, cool. It's a 17-year-old kid. He's a hustler. He told me everything that he was doing. I was like, follow up with me. Next week, what does he do? Follows up. I send him 2 or 3 different videos. I say, hey, learn about this, learn about taxes, learn about this code, learn about, how to read credit reports. Do that, come back. Something easy, right? 2, 3 days later, he hits me back. Hey, I learned all this. What's next? I'm like, okay, learn about e-commerce. Learn the difference between FBA versus FBM. 2, 3 days later, he hits me up. Okay, cool. What's next? I'm like, all right, let's get on a phone call. So we get on a phone call. I'm like, hey, I'm flying out to California next week. Let's meet up. We go out, we have dinner, we start talking. I'm like, hey, like, this is what we're looking to do. Like, is that something that you're wanting to do? And he goes, bro, I'm still in high school. I graduated in February, but yeah. And yeah, pretty much from the time that he was 17 in December of this last year, all the way up until February, he started working with us prior to him actually graduating.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And again, it was all initiative. He followed up. He did the homework. He was showing that he was willing to. We weren't paying him the first 3 months, right? Just like how he was saying, it takes money to make money, right?
100%.
You got to pay to play. Sometimes if you don't have the money, okay, well, what can I use instead of my money?
Your time.
Your effort, your time.
So I had one of my students ask about getting funding for his e-commerce business. What's somebody go about that way?
Say that again, I'm sorry?
Funding for e-commerce.
Oh, there's multiple different ways, man. There was a credit card leveraging, you get banks from, money from the banks. Depends. If you have collateral in the business, obviously it's easier for you to get funding. And a lot of banks, what we're noticing now is, and majority of the, depending on the industry, right? Especially the e-commerce, since technology is, you're able to get a lot of funding. They're supporting that. Now, if you're in the retail space, right, you're not getting as much funding. Obviously, you know that.
Really?
Yeah. The reason for that is, like, look at where retail's really going. Like for me too, when I had the GNCs, it's hard. So the way my business started was when I had the GNCs, I had 2 locations, and COVID kind of messed that up. But luckily in 2018, we had the e-commerce and that blew up. So then basically when I started the e-commerce was, okay, I have this location over here with a population of 200,000 people in there. Okay. Fitness enthusiastic, let's just say 10%. Okay. So let's just random number, 50,000 people might be fitness enthusiastic. From there, maybe 1,000 people are going to buy supplements that are going to be local. Okay. From there, maybe 500 people are going to come to me. Okay. But then you take a broad scope of e-commerce and you got what? 328 million people shopping daily.
Yeah.
You have a bigger scope. Even if you just target 1%, that's a lot.
A whole lot.
Yeah. So so that's what put me in a perspective like, oh shit. And banks see that as well too. But then they also see like what type of entity structure you have as well. So it's like having the right documentation, an office, a 1-800 number, website, all that kind of stuff. So we see those kind of files because one of our companies called Campbell's Capital Solution, and he's a master at that. And we see files coming in all the time, and it's just little tweaks of the way entity is structured and everything. It determines what kind of a funding you can get.
Yeah.
But easily when it comes to e-commerce, you can get very low rates. $300,000 to $400,000, If not, why don't you find somebody who's looking to invest and make them some type of an equity deal or some type of a play where you'll return a principal or XYZ. A little bit higher risk for the investor side, but a lot of investors are doing that.
So how should they structure it to get a, I don't know, 100K loan, you would say?
What do you think, Leo? It's not hard at all.
No, not at all. So basically to get 100K, just depending on who you're utilizing, a lot of the times there's certain companies, and obviously it's one of those things where you have to vet the companies out. There's a lot of people on social media saying you can walk in a Chase and get $50,000 to $100,000 cash. Bullshit. Like, it doesn't work like that, right? In a way, yes, but there's a structure that has to go along, right? So if you vet out a company, if you do your research, obviously again you can't expect to just get $100,000 appear out of nowhere, right? You got to have you do some research, see what you need, see what type of entity is being loaned, higher amounts, lower interest, whatever that case may be, and then just go from there. Again, there's companies, not just ours. You can go with company X, Y, or Z and try to get $100,000, $200,000, and you're looking at maybe a $5,000 to $20,000 upfront fee, and then typically there's what's called a success fee. So if, for instance, there's a company charging a 10% success fee, I want to get $100,000, right? Company helps you get $100,000, you pay 10% of whatever's funded. So say you do complete that $100,000, you're going to pay a $10,000 fee from that credit card. But again, nothing's coming out of your pocket. So again, it's just how can you get that access to that capital, and how can you leverage it, and how can you make sure that you put it somewhere to make sure you're able to pay it back? Because that's one of the biggest things too,
Paying it back.
right? You can go and you can get $100,000, but again, they're not gifting you that to you. It's not a grant.
Yeah.
It's not a Christmas present. You got to pay that back.
Yeah.
And then also too, you got to find a way and be strategic, like how he was saying, know your next moves. Okay, hey, I got $100,000 on 2 or 3 different credit cards, right, at a 0% interest for 12 months. Okay, what am I going to do before those 12 months to make sure I pay that back and everything doesn't fall back onto me? Because then from there, that could start to set you back. You can be making money, but if you're not being smart and you're wanting to take it, be greedy, and not follow the long-term play, what's going to bite you in the ass in the long run?
And that's why I was saying that rather than starting a brand new business, acquiring a business is better. Why? Because there's history backed up to it, right? You can track the metrics. You can track the metrics as far as like what they've done in the past, what they're about to do in the future, and then from there you can determine where to pivot and what are the bottlenecks are, fix those, and see where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I know Bradley buys companies a lot.
Mhm.
You know Bradley?
yeah.
yeah.
I did my, we know, yeah,
So isn't it better to acquire than start from scratch? Obviously.
yeah, 100%, yeah.
So let's talk about investing in assets like crypto, real estate. What do you guys invest in?
I love real estate. You know, everybody loves real estate. Think about it. It's, you know, it's one of those things. God only made so much land. You know, so crypto, it's kind of like I don't know. We're trying to get, we're getting it, but okay. So recently I did a podcast, and then he asked me the same question. What do you think about crypto? I think there's two sides of crypto. There's the bottom layer, and then there's the top layer. So we're partnering up with this one company where the minimum investment with them is about, I think, like $20 million or $30 million, and you're literally controlling the whole chain or something like that, right? And then there's other guys that are just doing, what are the apps that are in crypto?
Like Crypto.com,
Yeah.
Coinbase.
It's like Coinbase, like you're in Shiba Inu or something like that. You're just doing a couple $100 and all that kind of stuff. But my biggest advice to the guys that are investing in the crypto world is make sure that money is one of those. It's kind of like stock market. It's just like, it's your play money.
Right.
It's gambling in a way.
Yeah.
Right? You got to learn how to strategically gamble. So if you lose the money, there's a lot of people that have noticed that they're 9 to 5. They save a couple, let's just say $5,000 to $10,000. They dump it into crypto, and then when it goes down, they're freaking the shit out because that was their retirement. Like that's happened to one of your friends, right?
Yeah, close to about almost $1 million. Yeah, he was at $980,000. He wanted to invest with us, and he had said that he wanted to hit that 1 million mark before he invested with us. That was back when.
Almost a year ago, I think.
Yeah, probably about a year ago. Last year in June.
Yeah,
July.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went all the way down. I think he was left with like $23,000. Still, till this day, crawling himself out of that hole.
Crazy.
He should have bought the course. Crypto
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Charlie Miguel.
See, that's the thing.
You probably bought some altcoins.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, bro. It's like that's what I'm saying. You got to be very careful where you get your information as well, too. You know,
100%.
you know, there are, like you said, the courses too. There are a lot of courses, but they just buy one course. They go based off that. Why don't we get like 4 or 5 different courses and then go based off of the best information that you think it is, and then go based off of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's smarter.
because majority of the courses, what happens is they're just gonna give you the little things so they can sell you more. But let's just buy 5 or 6 different courses and see the different strategies and see which strategy you think is going to work the best. You know,
Right.
and that's the same thing with business.
From your experience, I guess, for example, people's mistakes. What's the biggest mistake people make in business, you would say, starting out?
Oh man, the biggest mistake I've ever made was partnering up with the wrong people. You know, this was back when I was 20 years old when I got my first business at GNC. So this is a former guy that I worked with, and yeah, so we opened up a location, and then I was working my ass off there. XYZ, he was the one pretty much telling everybody like he's the boss of the shop, but we're 50-50. That's the other thing, is when you're partnering up with someone, you have to see who's doing more in the business and then make the partnership off that, because capital can be brought from anywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's the amount of work and that's put in there. So a deal like that would be, rather than being 50-50, should have been where I've got more of the equity because I was in there every single day. I mean, shit, I remember when we first got it was a brand new location, and I was working there literally for I think 8 or 9 months from open to close. No haircut, no nothing. And I remember 2 times calling him like, bro, can you just watch the shop for 30 minutes so I can go get a haircut? Next door was a freaking, not even like a women's salon, you know, just so I can get a freaking haircut, you know? But what I'm trying to say is like, partnerships is the biggest thing that matter in your business, because that can literally break your business, make your business, whatever it is. Even if you're a couple and you go 50-50, it usually doesn't work out.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to learn how to navigate those situations well too. Like, how do you structure them? How do you legally structure them? Do you have a trust? Do you have a holding company? You know what? You know how's the money flowing? You know, how are you dividing the dividends? You know, how are you doing all that? Are you paying salary? Are you not? Who's taking care of the employees? Who's doing this? Who's doing that? A lot of couples, man, they get into arguments because of that. You know, like the whole CEO thing that we were talking about, the whole cheating guy. Maybe there were partnerships. We don't know. The husband and wife. We don't know.
That's true. We don't know.
You know? So yeah, so partnerships is the biggest thing. And the biggest believer that I have is 50-50 never works. I've never seen a successful 50% partnership. Impossible. Especially if it's 2 brothers or friends. It's very hard. The other thing is too, having standards in business of what you stand for. You know, your non-negotiables, like they say. You know, like what are some of the things, like your 10? So whenever I do business with somebody, I always say, hey, these are my 10 non-negotiables. What are your 10 non-negotiables? Like one of the things is is if there's three partners, right? Let's just say you, me, and Miguel. If there's three partners in a business, you can't have a conversation, and it has to be in person. No phones, no Zoom call, no text message. And the reason for that is when you have the emotions in person are a lot different than phone calls, text messages, and Zoom calls, right? You have to learn how to read people. Because you might be saying something on the phone or something like that, but if when I'm in person, I can read you if you're nervous or not.
And then on top of that too, you and I can have a conversation behind closed doors,
Yeah.
and agree on something, and then
But then if I'm not there, that's not fair for me.
It turns into a he said, she said.
Yeah.
But if we're all there and we're all on the same page, things
Yeah.
move a lot.
So what I'm trying to say is when you have the non-negotiables, we write all of our non-negotiables, and there's a separate document that I have. I call it the Declaration of Business, right? And so we put all of our, what are our non-negotiables, and we sign that shit, and then we get into business. So what I'm saying is you're putting standards of everybody agreed to this before we do anything. And then from there you have quarterly meetings, then you have monthly meetings, and there's some meetings that you have to do between your partners, some meetings you have to do between your employees. And you got to understand that